What's happening, comic fans? It's Mike from the Hardcover Comic here. Today we're going to take a look at Seven to Eternity, the deluxe edition, hardcover edition, I guess, at this point. Released by Image Comics, Rick Remender, Jeremy Opeña. Very excited to talk about this book. Real quick, want to mention organicpricebooks.com, sponsor the show. Amazing place to get comics. On the screen right now, you'll see two promo codes being shown. Various discounts depending what kind of order you're placing. Check them out. Love organicpricebooks.com. They're amazing. Now, let's get into Seven to Eternity. We'll look at the book, the story, and where to start. Where to start with this book? First of all, the hardcover itself, beautiful. So well done. It's such a massive book. It's so thick. It's got such a heft to it. It kind of feels like the Meta Barons. I forget what that edition was called, the Ultimate Edition or whatever that came with the slipcase. Nice design, clean, simple, nothing too crazy. $60 US cover price. This book, as I'm aware, is very difficult to find at the moment. I had it pre-ordered on Amazon a very long time ago. That's how I managed to, I guess, snag my copy. Very excited by it. I haven't read the full story. I have read about half of Seven to Eternity. I was reading it as it was coming out because I typically enjoy Rick Remender stories. In terms of the plot itself, it's focused around three groups of individuals. You've got the Osiris family, you've got the Mozaks, and you've got the Mud King and his whole gang of individuals that sort of runs this kingdom in secrets. He's known as the King of Whispers. He's essentially this sort of character that you learn moves through the shadows of societies and civilizations, and is kind of a trickster in that way. Very interesting choice for a villain, for sure. And it's like with most Rick Remender titles. For me personally, I've read pretty much everything Rick Remender's done at this point. Maybe not like his Secret Avengers run. I think that's like the last thing of his that I haven't read. Rick Remender, for me, he's a great writer. I enjoy a lot of his work. Deadly Class, one of my favorite Image titles. Black Science, beautiful story. I love it so much. I even didn't mind Low, which I know a lot of people disliked. I get why some people get a little frustrated with Rick Remender sometimes. The story in general is great if you haven't read a Rick Remender book in a long time. The artwork by Jeremy Opeña is breathtaking, absolutely worth getting this largely oversized book. Just for the artwork, Jeremy Opeña's artwork is just stunning, absolutely breathtaking, amazing work. The story's great. It follows those three groups of individuals I told you about. There's a rich history here that you get to explore. There's journal entries from Adam Osiris that add context to the story that's happening now, that adds context to the characters in the universe in general. I really appreciated that. I really enjoyed the story as a result of that information. I'm really enjoying it so far, as well as I'm reading through the second half of it. There are some great characters involved here as well. A lot of creativity with the characters, puns on names, things like that. It gets a little cheesy at times, but overall, it sort of works in this weird universe in its own way. It's cheesy if you want it to be, but the tone of the whole book is very serious about all this. Plot aside, my only beef with Rick Remender as a writer is that at times it feels to me that his work can feel repetitive. A lot of the same tones, a lot of the same atmosphere, very grim. Something is going to happen to a character that you're starting to care about early on in the plot. I'm kidding. That's not what happens in any of his books. Stuff like that, you see repeating themes, repeated sort of ideas and philosophies that he's tackling. Not the worst thing in the world, not the end of the world, but for me, as someone who's read so much of Rick Remender's work, it can feel a bit repetitive at times. For me personally, I don't think if anyone's as a new reader or someone who doesn't read very many Rick Remender titles, I think you'll really enjoy this. If you're someone who enjoys bonus content, this book is packed with it. We'll take a look at it in this video as well. Absolutely packed to the brim with bonus content. And you get a complete story. It's all 17 issues in this hardcover, a full complete story, Image Comics story. It's great. It's great. My only gripe with it is that I've read too much Rick Remender, I guess. But if you haven't, I highly recommend it. Rick Remender is really a great writer for the reasons that I've unfortunately started to, see some repetition. Is he's tackling difficult topics. He's looking at characters that are complex, that are dark, that have made mistakes, that are not perfect, not even close to it. It really gives you something to reflect on. It really gives you something. It grips you to the story more because you're starting to get invested in these characters because they remind you of someone that you know, or they remind you of a type of person that you'd maybe never want to end up as in your life, and you want to find out what sort of things that these characters do through the lens of Rick Remender writing them. It's really well done. It's very compelling in that way. So I don't mean to put anything down. I still very much enjoy Rick Remender's work, and I'm really enjoying this story. It's sort of a dystopian future setting. A little bit of politics involved with it, with this this kingdom and the huge history behind the set of characters involved in this book. There's a lot going on here. It's a great story. It's not the quickest read. It is a very enjoyable read. So I do recommend it. I highly recommend it. I don't know why. I feel like I've kind of come off like I'm not a fan of this title, but I really am. I think it's worth picking up. I know it's difficult to find at this point. I'm sorry that that's happening. What can you do? Rick Remender typically reprints his books, though. So if you don't get a chance to pick up this first printing, just be on the lookout for the next one. It'll happen eventually. Rick Remender's pretty good with that. I think he's reprinted all his oversized hardcovers at least one time. And yeah, it's great to see bonus content like you see in this book for the reason that you get to see the process entirely. Character designs and sketches, full page layouts, full page scripts, really awesome stuff. This is a book that comes jam-packed with everything for every kind of, comic fan, from the most casual to the most intense. I really like it. For the price that it's at, it's a fantastic purchase in my opinion. I highly recommend checking it out if you can. If not, read it digitally. I'm sorry you couldn't experience the Opena artwork in this oversized format, but hey, you can cast your digital reading onto a TV and it'll be even larger. Not a terrible idea. Before we go, I do want to mention organicpricebooks.com. One more time, amazing place to go for comics, hardcovers, omnis, absolute editions, whatever you need. You can pre-order, back order. Amazing stuff over there. Amazing shipping. It's quick. Customer service is fantastic. Can't recommend the sponsor of our show enough. There have been 2 promo codes on the screen. Feel free to use them. Every time you place an order. Thank you all for tuning in. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of 7 to Eternity. Did you pick this up? Are you looking for a copy? Let us know. Can't say we'll help you, but just let us know and we'll be there with you throughout that struggle. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Until next time, as always, you stay classy, Internet.